HRSA Branch Chief, Ms. Kimberly Huffman.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Huffman, and I oversee all the National Health Service Corps conferences. So please feel free to stop me over the next few days and let me know if you have any questions or if I can assist you in any way. Now I'd like to introduce to you our keynote speaker. Dr. Corey Hebert is a National Health Service Corps alumnus and a highly regarded medical broadcast journalist working as on-air medical editor for the NBC television affiliate in New Orleans, Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast. He's also a frequent contributor to the Dr. Oz show. He is also a current, he has many other jobs that he'll share with you during his presentation. He's a native of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and received his Bachelor of Science degree from Morehouse College and his medical degree from Meharry Medical College. He completed his NHSC service obligation in New Orleans and continues to practice in the same community. Before I bring Corey on stage, let's take a look at his CNN Heroes of Video, his CNN Story of Heroes video.
I love to help people. I think I like to help people more than I like to help myself. What I owe you, man? My grandparents lived in an area that was not very upwardly mobile, I'd say. It wasn't hardcore ghetto, but it was an underserved area. So I saw the bad things that could happen to people that don't have health care, that don't have mentors, that don't have these types of things in their lives. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people that couldn't help themselves in that way. From day one, I always wanted to do that because there are people in the world that just don't have. They don't have a lot of good things. And it's my job, I feel, to take care of them as far as their health care, as well as the whole person. Rakia Dimes. The people I'm dealing with have very high infant mortality, decreased literacy rates. They're all very poor. They've never left New Orleans. They have no real good outlook on what they're going to be doing for the rest of their lives. You got your book. You want some stickers? We'll see if we can find you some stickers. I just wanted to get involved because I wanted to get back to my people in my community. I needed to be here. Someone needs to be here to help. And I'm actually on the front lines taking care of patients, but not just their health care needs. I'm doing tutoring and doing mentoring and doing lots of different things in the community, organizing health fairs and doing literacy programs so that these things that we initiate can continue to be legacies so that people can continue to do them and hopefully make a difference in the long run. What you want to be when you grow up?
I'm going to be a teacher.
Oh yeah, so you make it. When you're in the Health Service Corps, you are a counselor, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a confidant, you're a big brother, mentor to lots of people, adults and children. Every Friday, I guess kind of a ritual, I go to the car wash on the corner where I grab a little lunch and let them wash my car, and we talk about what's going on in the community, and we talk about sports, we talk about cars, we talk about lots of things, but in the middle of all that, I use them as information on what's going on in the community, as well as they use me for information on what's going on outside the community. So we kind of work together and have actually forged some decent relationships. I take care of their kids, and if they need something, then I'm kind of there for them, just like if I need something, they're there for me. New Orleans is a place that if you can reach out, people will embrace you. It's an amazing place, and that character and culture brought me back here. Would I like to stay here after my Health Service Corps commitment? I don't see how I could really go any other place. I mean, New Orleans has so much flavor. and the people need you so much. So I don't know of many other places that you can have as much fun and help as many people as New Orleans. So I don't think that I'll probably be leaving anytime soon. I would encourage anyone to be a part of the National Service Corps. We, as a group, for many years have been the only people out there on the front lines every day fighting to make sure that people that don't have health care have it, and people that don't have mentors have them, and people that don't have people to look up to, they have all of that. We are part of America's healthcare heroes.
That I want in this whole wide world is just for you.
Please welcome Dr. HowIGotHere.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start off by saying I'm not with that woman anymore. Okay? She just had a baby. Wasn't mine, all right? Very, very nice lady, though. Very nice lady. Welcome. Welcome. Give you guys some a round of applause. You're here. Welcome. You just got a lot of information. A lot of information. Now, I'm going to tell you in very real terms, when I signed up for the National Service Corps, I had to use my own blood and stone tablets, okay? You guys have all kinds of online tools, and use that stuff because it's because of the administration, it's because of the people that have really forged the way so that you can have all these interesting tools to make this a lot easier for yourself, okay? Now, I'm going to talk to you about the fact that you are tired, okay? You're tired. You're like, man, I just want to go out. I want to go to D.C. I want to have some fun. They trapped me in this room. The issue is not about being trapped in the room. It's about why are you thinking you're trapped in this room? You're in this room because everybody in this room thinks like you do. You have never been in a place where everybody thinks like you. Because when you're in your site, what happens? The administrators don't think like you do, now do they? No. When you're at home, everybody says, why are you taking so long to come home? They don't think like you do. So you're in a room, finally, with a bunch of bleeding hearts. Just bleeding hearts. Just people, oh, I'll stay later to take care of the 38th patient. Oh, you know, you're there, all right? You're there. And give yourself a round of applause. It's real, all right? I am from New Orleans, you guys, you saw, okay? So you have to listen to me because I'm from the home of the New Orleans Saints. So if you don't, I'll put a bounty on your head, all right? But I want you to listen because you guys work so hard, okay? You work very hard, and you think that you can't do anything else. You think you can't do anything else because you're working all day. But I'm here to tell you that you can do a lot of other things, and you have to. You must, because if you don't, then what's going to happen? Everything is just going to keep going. You're going to take care of your 87 patients a day, and then you're not going to make the impact on your community that you need to take and that you need to make, because no one can do it person to person to person. You got to be able to do it in a bigger scope, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about, because I have a whole bunch of jobs that I'm going to tell you about them. A couple of things. Just about me. I wear bow ties. I'm not a weirdo. Okay, I tied them myself. It's not a Pee Wee Herman thing. As a pediatrician, as well as an emergency room physician, you know, I have a lot of kids that I take care of, and they always pull on my tie, and the ties get dirty, and I have to go take them to the cleaners. It was just too much, all right? So I wear bow ties. I also don't like to shave. I don't know why. I just don't like it. It irritates me, so I don't shave too close. And I also don't wear socks. I didn't forget them, all right? I just don't wear them. And I don't wear them because when I was in college in Atlanta, I worked at a store called Socks Appeal. It's really true. It was an underground Atlanta, and I worked there for maybe 4.5 years when I was in college. And so the socks still, I saw socks so much that they still chase me in my dreams. No feet, just the socks, you know, just socks chasing me. So I don't like to wear them. I figure I don't have to. So, you know, just a few things to let you know that I'm like you. We all have our quirks. We do what we need to do. But it's important that you know who you are. And we're going to talk about this because it's also important that you know who your community happens to be. A couple of things happen to me at every one of these conferences. People mistake me for a waiter around here, okay? Because I think it's because of the bow tie. So the lady in the blue sweater back there, here's your Splenda. Okay, I actually got it for you. You can get it later. The second thing that happens, there's always somebody in the room that says, wait a minute, I went to college with that guy, and he partied way too much to be successful. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I did, okay, but I made good grades, and I worked extremely hard. And that's all you have to know about the National Service Corps and the space that you're in, is that it doesn't matter if you were a 3.5 student or a 3.0 student, or if you worked 80 hours a week or 20 hours a week. What are you doing now? It gives you the opportunity to say, you know what? I can do a lot of things now. Don't worry about what happened in the past, okay? So I'm going to tell you my jobs, because we're going to get involved in this thing real quick, because I have to write them down, because I always forget them. And when I go through this, you're going to be amazed that one person does all this, okay? First thing I do, which is most important to me, I take care of patients, okay? I'm a pediatrician, associate professor of pediatrics at Tulane University, as well as emergency medicine, okay? That's the first thing. And I'm also the chief medical editor for WDSU Television, with the NBC, it's an NBC affiliate owned by her, so I'm on in 18 states in the country, all right? Every day, almost. I'm the chief medical officer of Dillard University, which is a small black college in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is about 2,000 students. I'm the chief medical officer of the Louisiana Recovery School District, which is the largest school district in the state of Louisiana. We have over 250 schools, high school, middle school, elementary school. My job is to make sure that all those things run appropriately. And we also had to take over a lot of schools that were destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. You guys may have heard of that, all right? I have a radio show on Tuesday morning called Doctor for the People. It's syndicated across the country on Citadel Broadcasting and Cumulus Broadcasting. And I have another one on a local radio station, all right, that comes on Thursday. I'm the CEO of Social Health TV, which is a website that we're launching in about 2 weeks that is basically like WebMD for minorities. Okay, so there'll be blackhealthtv.com, asianhealthtv.com, latinohealthtv.com, all these things, so that it's just like WebMD, but just some things that are a little more video and a little more tuned to the particular nuances of certain communities. I practice 2 days a week, and I'm the on-air contributor for the Dr. Oz Show. I do a segment called The Pulse, as well as the Discovery Channel show, How Stuff Works. I'm the doctor for that. Now, with all that being said, do I sleep? Sure I sleep. I have a sleeping one. No, I'm just kidding. I never, ever, ever get tired of getting information. When Ms. Spitzko was up here giving the information that she was giving, I've heard that probably, I'd say 5 times, okay? Every time she brings something new, and now I know about the portal, and now I know about how I can get information to give to my students and my residents, all right? You got to be aware of what's going on. You got to be able to be like a sponge for information. You've got to remember that you can do it. You're the cream of the crop, okay? You see these colors? They're blue and gold. You bleed them now, okay? You're like SEAL Team 6, all right? You are an elite fighting squadron that's stomping out disparities throughout the United States. That's what you got to think about, okay? So we're going to give you your orders today so that you can go out and make things happen. You're going to learn a lot of information here, okay? And what's going to happen is when you leave here from the weekend, you're going to feel empowered. You're going to feel like, I can finally do it again. How many people in this room have been at their sites for more than a year? More than 2. More than 3. More than 4. Yep, you guys are weary. Y'all are tired. Super tired, because what has happened? You come up with all kind of new programs. I want to do this, I want to do that, and the CEO kicks you in the teeth. Shut up and go see some patients. Is that what happens? That's what happens? That's what happens? All right? We're going to fight that this weekend, okay? You're going to have some information now so you can go back and say, well, if you want to kick me in the teeth, I can put on braces, okay? That's what you got to be able to deal with now. You have to be on your feet to make some moves. So we're going to start. I'm going to flip through a few slides here, and just to give you the outlook on where I want you guys to be focused. Here are a few quotes. I always like to start off with quotes. Very important things. Tears and sweat are both salty, but each renders a different result. Tears get you sympathy, and sweat gets you change. That's real, okay? You can always say, oh, my, I have to work so hard. Okay, fine. You got to work so hard. That's granted. We all have to work hard. But you got to realize that you got to sweat. You got to get some work ethic out there, okay? Knowing a fancy stitch is of little use if one cannot thread the needle. I don't care where you went to medical school. I don't care where you did your Master's of Social Work. It can be Harvard, Duke. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Because if you can't deliver the material that you need to deliver, doesn't matter, okay? You've got to know the simple things, the basic things, okay? Because you'll realize, especially if you're, say you're a primary care physician, okay? You don't realize you don't actually have access to MRI now, do you? When you were in medical school, you did, but now you don't, all right? You have to be able to make those decisions, all right? Life is like a sailboat race. Everyone has the same win the same way. Someone wins and someone loses. Who are you going to be? We're full of winners here? Yep, so not a big deal. You're going to win, and you just have to get your focus right. And if somebody wants something different, you got to do something different. Very important. You have to change the way that you frame your clinic sites, your outreach. Everything's got to change, okay? How did I get here? Chesapeake was windy that day, but I made it through. This is my son. He's 14 now, and he's a good kid. I think he's got a doppelganger somewhere because he doesn't do anything bad, and I think there's someone just killing people somewhere, but he's not. I was raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Single mother. She worked 3 jobs. My sister graduated with a PhD from Harvard. My brother has a triple master's and a PhD from MIT. And so she said, when you're 17 years old, because we all had early birthdays, you have to leave my house and go do something. I don't care where you go. You can go to Harvard or you can go to community college. I don't care where you go. But you have to go do something. And so what did that instill in us? That, you know, we lived in an area, like I said on that video, that it was kind of rough. But we knew that we had to make a change. We knew that we didn't want to live in that paradigm. The patients that you see, they don't want to live in that paradigm. Nobody wants to do poorly, but they don't have the tools. They want to get to B. They're at A, but the difference between A and B, there's a lot of stuff between there. That's your job. That's your job. Explain that to them. How can you get to B? Get to B. What are the perks? Well, you were in debt, and now you're not. All right? Give it up for that. Yeah, love that money. Love that money. Look, it's a big deal. It's not, you don't have to be ashamed of that. You're not here only because of the money, because we all know that if you really want to make a lot of money, you would have gotten an MBA, and you would have gone to Wall Street and steal from other people like they do. That's all you would have had to do, if that's the way you wanted, okay? But that's not what you wanted. You want to help people. And I think you should be rewarded for that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know what? With great power comes great responsibility, folks. All right? It's a lot of stuff you got to do. You can't just leave at 5 because you want to. Okay? It's over. Not that you do it now, but now you're going to want to do it. Maybe 5:15. Work with me. One more patient. Work with me. Examine your road. How'd you get here? You have to know thyself. Know thyself. Because if you are out there just fighting on a regular basis, all right, you're probably working a lot harder than smarter. You know, you got to remember that there are ways to get these things done. When you come to our small group sessions, it's really important. We're going to teach you how to implement a public health initiative. We're going to teach you how not to get burned out. We're going to teach you ways so that you can deal with all the stress that you will deal with, okay? All right? And I have a big thing about food, too. I want you to just remember, stressed is desserts backwards, okay? So don't eat a bunch of desserts when you're stressed. It causes problems, right? Y'all never heard that one. That was... Set goals and write them down. I want you to, I'm a big BlackBerry guy, okay? I love technical media and all this kind of stuff, but when you want to write your goals down, folks, write them down. I want you to have a 1-month goal, a 6-month goal, a 1-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal, and a life goal. I'm on my life goals now because everything I've written down, I've really gotten to where I needed to go because I looked at those goals and I said, I got to get there. I got to figure it out. You know, and you can do that, but don't use it on like iPads. Don't do that, okay? What I want you to do is get a nice pen, okay, and then get a nice piece of paper. I know it sounds foreign, all right, but write it down so you can visualize it and put it on the refrigerator. You know those pictures where all your kids drew them at school and you think that they're really good. Nobody else thinks they think the pictures are good, but you think they are because they're your kids. Put those pictures on the side of the refrigerator now, because your goals need to be on the front. And make sure you're in this position for all the right reasons. We know that money is a great thing. But right now, you can't run away because you signed up, so we'll find you. But besides that, you know that you're probably the only person at every dinner party you go to where you're saying, but what about the people? What about the kids? What about the dogs? What about everything? I didn't know the vet part was part of the National Service Corps either, and I've been involved with the Corps for about 20 years. So just remember that you're special. It's not because of just the money. You're here because you care. You really care. Now, if you don't hear one more thing that I say about anything for the rest of my talk, this is what you got to take away. You got to get to the people where they are, folks. You got to get to them. If you practice in Detroit or New Orleans and you don't know who Lil Wayne is, you need to go buy a CD, okay? Because it's important if you're taking care of patients that listen to Wheezy all day, and Wheezy doesn't mean asthma, it means Lil Wayne, okay? So you got to know who he is. You have to know. If you're in Nashville and you don't know who Garth Brooks is, go buy a CD. Because I lived in Nashville and I worked in Nashville and I didn't even like country music, but now I have a couple of songs I like. I don't know why they all end like this. Every country music song ends like that. But I digress. What you need to know is that the people that you're taking care of, if you're not invested in them, they don't care about you. All right? They don't inherently trust because they've been messed over for so long. And people just come to the clinics, and then they leave after 3 years. They come, and then they leave. So they're not invested in you. You're just going to come here and leave, too. So you've got to get to them where they are. You know, you have the history of African Americans and the Tuskegee experiment. Have you guys ever heard of the Tuskegee experiment? It's an experiment that didn't inject African American men with syphilis, which a lot of people think. They didn't do that. The African American men already had syphilis. But they did withhold treatment to see how syphilis would progress from primary, secondary, and tertiary, and then gave them about $100 so they could deal with it, and then they died, okay? That's real. That's real. And the people in Tuskegee, they know about it. So if you work in Tuskegee, that's what you have to deal with. Why don't black people go in clinical trials? Because why? Why would you think? Because they have all these issues with clinical trials. But you have to overcome that. And it's not just African Americans, it's every group in America. It has some type of thing that makes them distrustful, especially if they're downtrodden, okay? So get to the people where they are. This little kid this is a long story. I'm going to make it kind of brief, but this little kid who's sitting here now smiling, I was working in the ER one night. All right, and all of a sudden I get the call, this kid got attacked by a dog, and he got attacked by a pit bull, and he's coming in. All right, now, when somebody gets attacked by a pit bull, which is, I know some of you in here have American Staffordshire Terriers, and you think they're not pit bulls, okay, but they are, all right, I'm sorry. And in an urban area, we have a lot of pit bull attacks, and I'm working on some legislation to get them where you have to have certain licensure to be able to have one of those dogs, and I know after somebody's going to come to me and say, but look at Muffy, she wouldn't hurt a fly, okay? But I'm just saying that's my own personal opinion. But when this little kid, they called me and said he had gotten attacked by a pit bull. Now, the ER, they have a way of telling you all kind of things, that may or may not be true when it comes over EMS. So one time I had a kid, they said this kid got, hit by an ice cream truck, and he'll be in, and he doesn't look good. Okay, great. So the kid, comes in, and he walks in, but the ice cream truck was like one of those little hand trucks. And so he had ice cream all over him, and he's walking in, and I thought he looked very good. I mean, he looked tasty, but so we had all the paddles out, ready for him. So anyway, this kid comes in, they roll him in, he's awake, and he's under the little sheet, and I lift up, and I look at his leg, and I go, whoa, and I put it back down. Just a note to yourself, if ever an emergency room physician says, whoa, then that's bad, So his leg was just snapped, fib, snapped in half, okay, everything done. Gastrocnemius soleus complex, totally ripped off. And so I'm like, what happened? Tell me, and his mom was there, and he was like, yeah, he got attacked by a pit bull. And I said, well, whose dog was it? Was it some drug dealer's dog? Well, they're like, no, it's his grandmother's dog. Now, do you know how tough you got to be for your grandmother to have a pit bull? You know how tough the neighborhood has to be? And they said, yeah, this is the 5th time it's happened with the same dog. I'm like, okay, well, where do y'all live, man? What's the problem? Where do you live? We got to get something going on here. And they said, we live on Derby Street. Anybody from New Orleans? No? Okay. All right, very nice. Nice to see you. Oh, I know you. No, I'm just kidding. So Derby Street, I live on Derby Street. All right, now Derby Street's a long street, don't get me wrong, but I was the guy out in the community, doing all the neighborhood watch stuff and making all this stuff right. And this woman lived on Derby Street as well. Now, obviously, I didn't go far enough down Derby Street because when she came in, she explained to me her house had been broken into 10 times, and that's why she had the pit bull. Now, I'm doing neighborhood watch on the good side of Derby Street, but I'm not doing where you don't need neighborhood watch. What about on the other side? Examine your road and examine, what are you doing out there when you're trying to do these community outreach programs? Are you really making a difference? Well, just so you know, we took him in, plated everything. You see the scar there. He's actually doing very well. He does have a chihuahua now, if it makes you know any better. But he's a good kid. Now, lost kids. This is a very interesting little group here, okay? Because I'm over the school district in Louisiana, I have to drive to these rural areas. In Houma, there's a little place or the school called Bayou Blue. All right, and I got a call. These kids at Bayou Blue, they're acting out. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll get there. I'll drive up there and see what's going on. And so I get there, and before I get there, though, I make a wrong turn, and I end up on this beautiful street. There's a bunch of other stuff around, but just really pretty street. And I look to the left, and there are all these houses, and they're beautiful houses in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, okay, I'm driving, and I see Living on the Prayer Boulevard. Winfrey Lane, Bon Jovi Street, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I didn't pay any attention. I just thought the places were nice, and so I ended up, making the right turn, going back to Bayou Blue. And I get there, and they're like, Dr. HowIGotHere, you got to help us. Everybody has ADHD, and all these kids are running around, and it's just bad, and they're all dropping out. And I'm like, well, what's the cohort? Who are the kids? And they said, it's the Bon Jovi kids. I don't know what that means, but then I'm trying to put two and two together. So, just to give you a little background, a singing group and a famous African-American talk show host who will remain nameless put some money together after Hurricane Katrina to build homes for people that had been, where their homes had been destroyed and they had been on the bridges and all this stuff. So they built these nice, beautiful homes. But we always know, when you live in the projects, then if we took you out of the projects, then everything will be fine and you wouldn't have all these problems. Well, that's not really true now, is it? We think that, but we don't. Just a lot of other people think that because we're bleeding hearts. We know that's not the way it really works. Well, what happened is that they took all these people that had been on these bridges for 3 and 4 days with no food, no water, everybody in their family died, lost all their friends, and they gave them these houses in a rural area and said, here, you can live here. But they didn't give them any counseling. They didn't give them any support services. They didn't give them anything for post-traumatic stress. All they did was give them a house. Now, obviously, at the school, the high school kids, 50% of them had dropped out. 50% had dropped out. Of the grade school kids, almost 92% of them had been put out for some type of disciplinary problem, just the kids that live in this one community. And so, it became a real problem for me because I said, well, the people that gave this money who will remain nameless, I'm sure they didn't do this, where they didn't want to give them any counseling or any type of support system. So I called the people. And, they were playing their guitars and doing what they do. And I said, do you know what's happening here? Do you know that this is going on? And they had no idea because they didn't really think about the tertiary primary aspect of building a neighborhood without any support. But they did great things to give the houses, but what are we doing now? All we're doing is letting these kids kind of run around. So I get there to go back to the Bayou Blue, the Bon Jovi district, and when I get back, this school had already been dismissed, and it was like Lord of the Flies out there. Kids just running around with sticks, hitting each other, fighting, running out, grandparents just looking around like they don't know what's going on. It was so bad. So what did I do? I called the people back and said, look, I need you to give some more money. We have to do something. So we did some fundraising, and it's funny because the National Service Corps folks that have heard this before, every time I do the talk, it's a little bit more because we've already built, a community center now. We have a psychiatrist there that's there probably 4 days a week. We have a licensed clinical social worker that's there 5 days a week. And we also are in the process of building a gym, all right? How did that happen? You have to recognize a problem, and then you have to work hard so that you can get it fixed. And that doesn't take place from 8 to 5. That takes place sometimes at 6. Sometimes it's the weekend, all right? You've got to remember that this is part of what you do. You've got to be empowered to know that you can do it, all right? Now, the BP oil disaster, that was another one. Boy, people in Louisiana just keep getting kicked, huh? All right, I mean, I was involved in this whole big thing, and in Plaquemines Parish, they have a really weird community. It's divided into 4s. Rich black people, poor black people, rich white people, poor white people. And it's like they don't even have streets to get between them, okay? Everybody's separate. But guess what happened? When the BP oil disaster happened, everybody had to talk now, didn't they? And I mean, you know, it was a big deal for me because I travel a lot and do a lot of speaking, and, you know, people ask me about it. I mean, I'd go someplace and they had, you know, shrimp or whatever, and I tasted it, and it was oily. I didn't know if it was BP oil or olive oil, you know, I didn't know. But I did know that things were being done, and I did know that the community was having some issue, because what community person, rich, poor, black or white, wants to go to a clinic set up by BP to evaluate if they're sick or not from BP oil? Not one, because what's going to happen? They're going to log me in there, and then they're going to say this cancer is not caused by that because they're going to say it was pre-existing or blah, 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 blah. So I get a call, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Dr. HowIGotHere? I'm like, yes. They said, this is Reverend White, and I have a question for you. The people of Houma, we just left our city council meeting, and they said to us that the only way they will go to any clinics in Houma, sponsored by BP, is if you say it's okay. What? If I say it's okay? Well, I'm on TV every day in that area. So they said, he's a doctor, we trust him. If he says it's okay, that's who you have to be. Because the people recognize, now wasn't going down there and doing a lot of work, but the people recognized that they saw me at the Boys Club. They saw me at Boy Scout meetings. They saw me at the Girl Scout meetings. They saw me at this stuff. You got to get out. You got to get out. Somebody's got to step up. All right? Always. Also, you're now an employee. Okay? You guys have been there a while, so you realize that. I mean, how many of you, when you graduated from whichever discipline that you were in, you said, you know what? What I want to do, I want to have a multidisciplinary clinic, and I want to have a dentist and a chiropractor and a psychiatrist and internal medicine doctor and family practice, and we're all going to work together and have on-site MRIs and everything. Raise your hand. How many of you guys said that? Yeah, I know. That's not over, okay? You can do that. I did that. You can do it. You just can't do it right now, all right? You're learning now how things run. You have to remember that you are working for someone. And that's a hard thing for people in our disciplines to deal with, because we went into this stuff to be autonomous. Now, did we not? We went into this stuff so that we could do what we wanted to do and take care of our patients the way you wanted to take care of them. And you can. But you have to remember now that you're an employee, okay? Make the best of the relationship. And you got to be a leader. You got to be a leader, because you know what? You're the new clinician in town. You know what? When you go back, even though you've been there, some of you, for 4 years, when you go back, you're new. Trust me. You're going to be new, because your mindset is going to be changed. You're the new clinician in town. I want you to go to the radio station and say, look, I want to, you know, I'm a nurse midwife, and I want to talk to expectant mothers on the air. Have them just call in and ask questions about their newborn, okay, or the baby that hasn't been born yet. I want them to ask me questions. People will accept that, and they'll say, you know what? Yeah, that's good. They don't want to pay you. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to pay you. They're not. But always make yourself indispensable and then try to leave. And then they'll have to pay you now, won't they? That's the way you got to think about this. Because you're good, right? You're great, right? So why would you ever think that somebody wouldn't pay you for your services once they find out what your services are? But if you don't say what your services are out there fighting every day, then what? You'll never get it. You'll never get it. So go to the TV station and say, you know what? I am a psychologist, and I want to help the people in our city with some of their issues. So I want to have people call in, and I'm going to do this for free and answer those questions on the air, live, free. Nobody's going to turn that down because that's TV. That's drama, first of all. People like drama. But I have this show we pitched to Discovery Channel. It's called The Biggest Quitter. You have to quit smoking and lose weight. The person that quits smoking and loses weight. Now that's drama, okay? That's drama, all right? So you'll probably be seeing that coming out pretty soon. I'm a doctor for that. So go to these places. And more than anything, please, start a health fair. People love goodie bags. Do you have your goodie bag? You like your goodie bag? You got all kind of stuff in it, right? You love that. People love goodie bags. Remember, have a health fair and go to Subway and get a few little trinkets and then call the National Dental Association, get some toothbrushes, some toothpaste. Put that stuff in there, call it a goodie bag, get some blood pressure cuffs, all right? Get a couple of people to help you do the blood pressures and the glucose screenings and get it started. You can do that. It's not out of your reach, all right? And don't forget to hit the churches, folks. And I don't mean churches chicken. I mean churches, the churches. Now, I don't care if you're Buddhist. I don't care if you're Catholic. It doesn't matter if you're not the same denomination. We know that people that have a lot of downtrodden history, they migrate to churches. Why? Because you got to have hope somewhere, you know? So you have to go to the spiritual community. Let me tell you, one of the biggest things I've ever done. They had a big mega church in Atlanta, Georgia. They brought me in because I was on CDC's board for H1N1. We got to get people vaccinated, H1N1. We got to get people vaccinated. So I go to the church. The pastor's like, look, I got 15,000 people in my church. I want you to talk to them so they can get their flu shots. All right. What he didn't know was what I really was going to do. So I got up there and I told them, you got to get your flu shots. And they were like, okay, whatever, sure. And I said, and pastor, come on up. And he said, what? Come on up. And he got up there and I said, I'm going to give the pastor his flu shot on the pulpit right now. And his eyes got like fried eggs, you know. But I gave it to him and we gave 7,500 shots in 2 days. Because if the pastor did it, it must be good, right? Remember that. You've got to get in the head of the leader of the church so that he can say or she can say that you're validated, all right? You got to do that because if you don't, you won't be able to make a headway. NHSC is your friend, folks. Seriously. You know, don't just get into a situation and then, you know, say, I'm just going to leave my site. Don't do that, all right? If somebody's chasing you around like this, trying to grab on you, you know if that's a problem, all right? Don't wait till the last minute. And also, don't just leave without telling them because they will find you. Okay, they will find you. The problem is that when you have like a trauma at a site, then you feel like so scared and nervous. These people are here to support you. The reason why you're here is because we know that you're good. So they're here to support you. So stay in contact. Use the services. Don't wait till the last minute. And we want you to stay at the sites. Stay there. It's important to stay there because the people need you. You don't think of the impact that you're making. You don't know it yet, but the amount of people that you touch, if you left, it's staggering what it will do for their self-esteem. 5 keys to success, be on time, folks. Don't be late. If you are a person that runs 5 minutes late, get over yourself because it's totally disrespectful to be late for anything for anybody. You've got to be early because when you are early, it means that you mean business, all right? When you are late at your site all the time, the people don't even take you seriously. You go there and ask for some money to do something, they're like, no, because they don't take you seriously. You've got to remember that now this is real deal. You got to be on time. You got to be available. Nobody's going to knock on your door and say, excuse me, yes. Would you like $5 million to do this program? That's not going to happen. You have to go knock on doors. You have to do it, okay? You can't just wait and let things happen, but you got to be on time. Work hard. That goes without saying. There's a book I want you guys to get. It's called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. It says that you have to put in 10,000 hours for you to be considered an expert in something. How close are you on your 10,000 hours? Most of you probably already passed it. But you've got to put in your 10,000 hours. But you haven't put in 10,000 hours on doing outreach programs now, have you? Because you don't know how to do that. So you have to learn how to do it and put in your time. The more 10-hour days you put in now, the closer you get to 10,000, all right? But you got to do that to actually make sure that you are where you need to be. Work hard and set goals. We talked about setting goals. Make time for yourself because if you don't, you know if you're on psychiatric medicine, take it. Take your medicine. Because you know if you're going up and down and you're bipolar, that's not good for anybody. Not you, not good for your clinics. Take your medicine and make time for yourself because you will stress out, and it's not good, okay? You have to make sure that you feel comfortable and calm where you are. Now, also stay healthy. Quit eating all the bad food, all right? You go, oh, I do well because I eat my oatmeal. I get it from McDonald's every morning. That's not oatmeal, that's pudding. You know it's pudding. They call it oatmeal. And you got to quit drinking the devil's urine. That's right, I said it. Soda is the devil's urine. And if you, next time you pick up a soda, next time you pick it up, you are going to look at it, you're going to say, man, this really looks like the devil's urine. And you're not going to drink it because it's not good. And don't supersize anything. No need, never. Don't supersize anything. We eat way too much. All right, just cut it out because you got to be, picture perfect for the people that you're talking to as best as you can. All right, so because we know one bowl of ice cream, one bowl of rice. That's how it fits, one bowl of potatoes, one bowl of ice cream. Everything, every starch, one bowl equals to a bowl of ice cream. You never give your kid, what? You never give your kid 3 bowls of ice cream for dinner, but 3 scoops of rice happens all day. Just remember that. Just got to stay healthy. Stay out of trouble. If you get a DUI, you will lose your license. You will lose your license, and that's a bad thing. Also, you're the person that's out there giving all the health care information for your whole community, and now you're on the front page of the paper. I got a DUI. Nobody's going to listen to you anymore, okay? If you come to New Orleans, just as an aside, you probably could kill somebody and not go to jail, but if you urinate on the streets of New Orleans, you will go to jail, just so you remember that, okay? So when you come to New Orleans, don't pee on the street. All right, my time is up. I will tell you guys that this is a very, very important time in your life. And when I say that, I don't mean your 20s or your 30s or your 40s. What I mean is this weekend. This weekend is where the rubber hits the road, folks. This is where you have to decide, is this going to be a defining moment for you in your life? This is where you're going to step up? Because you can go right back to your clinic and act like this whole thing didn't happen, okay? But I don't want you to do that because the amount of people that you can affect by the things that you do, whether they be small or whether they be large, will make a difference in everybody's outcome, including everyone in your community, and not just yours, but the world. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time. If you make sure you go to the small